have him come in as kind of an invitee, put him on the agenda for I think it's the 21st for April.
Is this the one that we had Farm Bureau at?
Yep, Farm Bureau has been at this meeting, and Farm Bureau has also participated in our design details. So our construction standards document is going to pull out of some of the recommendations that are brought into this. What this does is it looks at the types of crashes that we have in the county, and essentially documents what are those and what action items should the county be looking at doing in future projects. My goal with that is to use that as a basis and a jumping off point for future grant applications. So when we say, when the county gets approached, this intersection needs to be a four-way stop, well, that's not supported by the sort of data that we're seeing as prevailing crash types in the county. And so what we're really seeing in this is ran-off roads or lane departures where people are running off roads. Many of the fatalities that we have in the county or property damage crashes are middle of a mile, straight section of road, and daylight time. Now, granted, daylight's prevailing time when people are driving, so as a percentage for the weighting that may change it somewhat, but it's not necessarily intersections that people are running stop signs so much as people are just getting off the roads and then overcorrecting, or they're having other issues on the roadway. So that's what we're seeing in that. This kind of documents that and actually sets out some goals for us. Essentially, it's sort of a planning document for us as far as what do we want to try to do as the county on our roadways and why do we want to do it. So if we're ever challenged as to why we're changing the road widths or we're changing the clear zone when we're doing road improvements, this really is the justification because of it. Because that's where people are getting hurt severely or you're having fatalities primarily from that.
Yeah, I would say if we could document road widths to ran off the road, if it's on a 14-footer or if it's on a 20-footer.
Exactly. So this kind of sets the overall goals, and then when we start doing design work on a road section, we then take that and start looking at what improvements we can make to those. So that's the intent. Right now it's essentially draft, but we're kind of opening ourselves up for comments. If there's comments from the public, certainly get those in writing or an email to the highway department. Those will go to attention to me, and then I want to try to meet with NERC to go through any comments we have, but I'd like to have Jerry Faust from NERC. He's our transportation planner. He's very familiar with the Aries crash data system, so he put together a lot of the basis in that crash tree that you're seeing at the very back of that report. So he's going to present some of that data for us on that at your second meeting in April. All right. Next item I have here is utility permits. We have 4 utility permits, all from Craigville Telephone. They're doing some boring of some utilities, and I'm just recommending approval for those.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0.
And then the last thing is any right-of-way dedications. I didn't receive any from my...
I didn't get any from
Okay.
Area Plan.
So then I can scratch that from my notes. Other than that, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, for that federal aid award, that's great news for us.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little anxious we'd have a 12-month gap between one project finishing and the next one starting, so getting those back-to-back will be very helpful. Seamless, I hope.
Right.
You moved it right along. Thank you for that.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you.
Colin, about the Peterborough ordinance?
Sure. For all of you out there, Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals, the Peterborough, has been in the news a lot, and in learning more about this and digging through that issue, we, as a county, have a certain amount of control over that board. The commissioners have 2 appointments, the council has an appointment. Insofar as how those appointments are made, residency requirements, the qualification, those are all stated in statute. There is no statute, as far as I could see, that provided for methods of removal of Peterborough members if the commissioners of the council wish to exercise that. And when there is no language in a statute forcing a county to do something, something called home rule kicks in, meaning that a county can exercise its authority so long as the authority is not given to another body or is not proscribed by statute. So, to exercise home rule, the county has to pass an ordinance that's in the home rule statute. And so we've crafted an ordinance here that restates that the PETA BOA will be 3 members, with 2 of those appointments coming from the commissioners. That there's language in here about home rule, just restating what home rule is. And the ordinance here at the end states that any PETA BOA member that are commissioner appointments, they can be removed without cause. They serve at the pleasure of the commissioners. Those are 1-year terms, but we are able to exercise some control and authority. We could make it very cumbersome or make it very easy, and the county commissioners have decided to move in this direction. There are some notice provisions. The person who is being removed, you get 7 days notice, there has to be a hearing, there's some due process considerations, and essentially make sure they know what's going on, give them an opportunity to be heard, and also an opportunity for public comment. So I've distributed this, and I think I've explained it, and I'll leave it at that.
Accept the motion to adopt this new ordinance.
Motion to adopt the ordinance on the PETA BOA board as written.
Also,
All in favor, aye. 3-0.
That will be ordinance number 2022-06.
2022-06.
Correct.
Next item, the interlocal agreement with ASEAN.
I'll step in on that. Still waiting on,
I ask you to speak up,
okay,
everybody,
I'll do my best, sorry.
Thank you.
So,
everybody.
my wife's always telling me to quiet down, so. We're still waiting on I'm waiting on Mike Hartberg, who's the ASEAN town attorney. The last time I talked to him, which I believe was early last week, the developer was working with the banks to work out their own financing. So as far as I know right now, we do not have a full, complete agreement. I know there's an agreement that's been approved by ASEAN, but it hasn't been put together, and I assume there'll be some minor tweaks and changes. But I have been working with Mike Hartberg. We do have a basic understanding of, and we've already discussed it.
Right.
I wanted it on the agenda in case they did have a final agreement so that we could put that together, but I'm still kind of waiting on them, so we'll just need, my request would just be to table that issue, and we can come back to it. My assumption is that by next meeting, we'll have a firm understanding of ASEAN's agreement with the developer, and then our obligations that flow from that.
Do we just want to table that then until we have someone on the firm with them?
Please.
do you see any need to approve it at this meeting?
I wouldn't want to approve anything because I don't know quite what, on the financing angle between the developer
I
and the
just
bank.
want your opinion,
Yeah.
we will table it.
I don't think it's going to help. move things
Necessity
forward.
wise to
Yeah.
make anything speed up.
Right, and Mike's doing a great job. There's just, we've got a lot of different moving parts here.
Thank you.
Monthly report?
There was a note for a Northeast Indiana Strategic Commission, Wells County support. Did you want to talk about that again?
Yes, let's do that. Blake, you want to kind of go that since we...
I was at Mike had given me some information last fall. There was discussion regarding this strategic commission from the ambassadors group out of Fort Wayne, and have ties with Eric Holcomb down at the State House. Mayor's Commissioners, I went to a meeting last Wednesday, let me see. Mr. Turpin?
Turpin? Yeah.
Ron Turpin was there. I had no issues with it. I think there is a commitment of $5,000, and I would recommend it for approval out of the what money.
All in favor, aye?
I
3-0.
I have a cyber security renewal application for general insurance for our policy that's coming due. It just needs signed by the board president.
We need a motion on that. Motion to approve the policy for cyber
I'll say.
renewal.
And this is the same one we had last year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, we have a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, 3-0.
And then the tax sale unsold property.
Okay, on this one, we had already voted to, you all had voted to submit the Wiley address back to a tax certificate sale. I talked with SRI, who runs those for us. They just needed a minimum bid amount, so I have a resolution here setting that minimum bid at $1,000. And once that's done, I will submit it to them, and then they're up and running with it. But I know we had talked about 2,000, but 1,000 is maybe a little bit more of a sweeter deal for some interested buyers.
You have an issue with that?
So was the motion approved last meeting, or do we need to do that?
The SRI is requiring a resolution, and I have that here.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thanks, you're out here.
That is resolution number 2022-04.
Thank you.
And then we have meeting dates. I think I took those out of order.
You can, but that's if you want to discuss that a little bit.
I'm the one that brought that up, that I haven't had one this week, but keep getting calls to make our meetings later so that more people can attend. So I propose we do them at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and Commissioner Gerber wants time to look that over and decide when the starting date would be.
Right, we had an employee meeting, so all the department heads were there. I'm not sure if Sean or Nate was there, but most everybody, I mean, we had probably 20 or 30. Most of them didn't know what time it would be. They were hesitant from the standpoint of not being available, evening meetings, family, overtime or time off to make the meetings and make up time scheduled with the board. So I would say majority like it the way it is, so they can use attend. So I'll review it. That's just me. I have not had any more feedback from the public requesting it.
Can't hear ya. Can't hear anything back here. Like you're whispering.
I don't control that.
Yeah, we gotta get our speakers tuned up, I guess.
Well, can you speak a little louder this morning, please?
My contention with the,
Or we can move up front a little closer.
please do. My contention with the heads of the departments is I report to the constituents, they report to the constituents. That's who's asking for the meeting to be changed so that they can attend the meeting. So I get it that the department heads may have some issues with that, but we all work for the people of Wells County, so.
I'll bring it back at the first meeting here in April.
I think we have Zoom options too, or whatever, so we'll talk about it in that meeting. I think that's, we missed anything, Lisa?
I think we got it. I think we got it all.
Any comments up here?
I think we're covering the bases.
All right. Audience? Anything you'd like to add? Comments?
Colin, the resolution for the Peterborough, council will be underneath that umbrella also then, or is that going to be something that we would want to pass ourselves?
Council will want to do their own,
That's, you know,
right, separate bodies.
or with different wording then?
Yeah, you're independent, and I'm happy to work with you and the other members to craft one that you find appropriate and would pass. I think it needs to be done because the Peterborough statute was passed in 1975. There probably was a resolution in 1975. My records only go back 20 years. We didn't start recording resolutions and ordinances until relatively late, so we need to restate what it is and also add in these other removal procedures in case the council wanted to do that.
Do you think there's other boards and commissions that would fall under the need for an ordinance like that too? I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not really coming up with one.
So there, if you're really bored or want to go to sleep, there's lots of cases out there that you could read where the issue is sometimes in statutes, such as a welfare board or I'm kind of drawing a blank on other ones. The statutes are very specific on what to do, on removal or and a lot of other activity of the board. PETA statutes just really doesn't have that much in it. It seems to be very, very much concerned with who should be on the PETA, and then it looks like they just forgot about talking about, well, what if something were to happen right now? And so when there is no statutory framework to require you to do something, well, you're kind of left out there. We don't know exactly what to do until we pass an ordinance to say that. So there's a lot of cases where those decisions need to be made, and the courts are have a hard time figuring out, well, this type of board or this type of board, what does this fall under? The PETA is one of the clearer ones because there really isn't anything in there whatsoever about removal. So anytime we're talking about board constitution, that should be looked into. What if something were to happen and we need to take action? If we're not an ordinance on it, the statute doesn't apply, we need to pass one.
Thank you.
Colin, would that apply to like the health department also?
Health department appointees the removal procedure is stated in statute so that we lose local control on that we have to follow the statute.
Anything else? Then I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second.
Thank you.
Did you go down Cherry Street?
Think just tear it down and start over?
No, it's a gym. It's gonna be great.